So as we move in to the 2032 season, will we finally have a new stadium? Will we finally have a top youth intake? And will we make some killer signings? Let's go and find out as I punch my microphone.
This is just an intro, you better believe it. Jesus, that was bad. Yep, welcome to the series.
So welcome to the start of this new season. We are starting in December 2031 because finally, the board has agreed to upgrade our stadium. I did ask for a new one. They said no. They've now decided to upgrade our stadium. Now, there is some positives and some negatives, so let's have a look, shall we? So the positives is the stadium's going to be 1,500 bigger. Now, if we're going to the facilities in the stadium, I mean, the annoying thing is, right, there we go. So we are due to move back into the 4,500 capacity Idrettsparken, which is nice because the stadium we've moved to, Brina Stadium, is only 4,000. So it's going to actually be bigger than Brina's Stadium. Now, I can see for the Champions League, we happen to use Sandnes Ulf and and Haugesund Stadium. I don't understand this. Travelling all the way up to Haugesund for a Champions League game. Egersund to Haugesund. I'm just showing you, just so you know, how far Egersund to Haugesund is. 153 kilometres. It's going to take 2 hours and 55 minutes. 2 hours and 55 minutes away for our home game. We've got to drive past Viking Stadium, which we've been using in the past, which is only an hour away. You have Sandnes Ulf Stadium, that's a 6,000. That's 9, okay. But we have Sandnes Ulf Stadium, that's 45 minutes to an hour away. Oh my God. So we're going to be using Brina Stadium this year. So for 11 months, we're not going to have stadium, which means for the whole of the 2032 season, we are playing away from home, which I don't like. I hope it means, at least in the Europa League in future seasons, we can use our own stadium. That's what I'm hoping. Then maybe in a couple of years we can start using our own stadium for the Champions League, but it looks like that does need even more additional expansion. But it's cost us 144k, and we've took 50k from the local government to help pay towards it, which isn't really needed, but okay. I mean, maybe we should have just said, do you know what, 144k for 1,500. How about we upgrade big enough for the Champions League and we just spend the money on it? But maybe that's just me ranting. So jumping a little bit further forward, we have had youth intake. I've not fixed the faces. I promise for the next video the faces will be fixed. So the best player they say is this goalkeeper, Birger Olsbu Kittelsen. He's okay. He's not world beat. He's only 6 foot, but he should get bigger. 15 years old. He doesn't fill me with a lot of hope, and he's our best. Bit scary, but the positive is Turgvanger looks insane. He looks like a really good striker, again only 15 years old. I think there's a lot of potential here in him, so that gives us some hope here. We've got a defender, Olaf Erlen Johansson Solter, central defender stroke central mid. He does look decent, 6'6" as well, so he's an absolute giant at 15 years old. And we've got left back Horgum, who, he's absolutely awful. We've got an American central midfielder who has passed at 6. I think that might be it. So before we look at our transfers going into the 2032 season, let's have a look how the Europa League campaign continued. So at the end of last season, we came up against Real Betis. Urshal scoring in 65th minute for Sumara with a penalty on the 84th. So us end the 2031 calendar year with a victory over Real Betis, who were top of the Europa League group at this point. So, really nice. I was played in Stavanger. It seems like we just travel the world at this point for fixtures. I mean, I promise I'm not bitter about this. We then played West Ham in the group stage and we lost 5-2 in London. At the Trevor Brooking Stadium. Have they built a new stadium again? 2028, they built a new stadium. 85,000 capacity. I mean, I just feel like they've not needed that. They had the Olympic Stadium not that long ago, 2012. Greedy. 5-3 victory for them though. Samara with 2 for us, as well as our captain and central defender Jurgensen on the score sheet. And we ended our Europa League group stage with a 1-0 defeat to Aris. Very disappointing, but we did qualify in 12th place. Won 4, drew 1, lost 3 games. So 12th place would see us go into the playoff rounds, and hopefully we will get a decent draw, which we didn't. So we came up against FC Copenhagen, and we lost the first leg 2-1 away from home. And to be honest with you, it wasn't the worst result. We had then the ability to take them back to Norway in some random ground, no doubt. God knows how many hours away from our home stadium. But we only needed to turn around a 1-goal deficit. The problem was the bus was parked, and yeah, we just couldn't break them down. So we've ended up going out in the Europa League playoff round, a 0-0 at home, 2-1 defeat on aggregate. And disappointing, but we keep progressing, we keep going, we keep working hard on it. So you can see pre-season is done, and we've looked decent in pre-season. Some defeats, obviously these games always fall at such a tough time for us because we've not had no pre-season. Them games are almost our pre-season. Then when we get to the knockout rounds, see if we can push on, which unfortunately we didn't do, but it's been a decent pre-season. Let's head over to the transfer screen and let's recap how it's gone. A couple of the transfers do fall on last year's list. So in terms of the outs fallen from last year, Schneider, a young winger who we picked up a few years ago, is now gone to play in Switzerland, so we wish him well. And for $500,000, we've sold Urschals to Cordoba in Spain. I tried so hard to sell him to a Norwegian club, but apparently no Norwegian clubs want him, which was very annoying. So he's ended up going $500,000. Not a lot of money. Played 109 games in the league, scored 25, but he just never performed for us. In terms of the ins then for this window, Orne Ewell comes in, a central defender on a free transfer, can play defensive mid as well. Decent play, only 5'10". I'd probably say more of a defensive mid when you look at his height. But I think he's a decent player. Let me know what you think of him on a free transfer. Maybe he can develop. Coming in for $2.5 million, I would say maybe is the sign of the winter window, is Matthias Pinker. Very, very good dribbling. Very all-round, good balance, agility, dribbling, like I say. He's just a very talented player. Really, really impressed with him. 19 years old. Comes from the west coast, from Brann. So staying down the west coast of Norway, joining us in Egersund's. Really pleased with him. $2.5 million. I think it's money well spent. And the final player who falls on this year's recap is Keda Damani. For $100K, he's a 19-year-old Algerian, 6'5". I think he's good. I do think he's a good player. Really interesting to see how he does. I've listed him for loan. I would like to try to get him out to another club in Norway for this 32 season. So far, nobody's wanted him, but we will keep trying. So as you can see, I've been busy. We've spent $9.5 million, 3.2 million transfers out. So we've spent big so far this year. So first off, Holton has left us. I really didn't want to sell him, but a club from Saudi Arabia came in and he just kicked off. He was not happy that I rejected the bid. So 27 years old now. We sold him for $3.5 million. Plus a percentage of next sale, which I can't quite remember what it was. I think it was like 40%. But yeah, I didn't want to sell him, but he's ended up going. Carlo Xiao Vinicius has gone on loan to the top flight, to Grerud. They are in the top flight this year. I think it's going to get him some good football, some good weekly game time, and hopefully he can develop out on loan. One of the youngsters we picked up a year or two ago in Kosish. Really disappointed we've sold him. Only 350k plus 50% of next sale to Mulder. I didn't want to let him go, but I rejected the first bid for Mulder and he went crazy. He didn't understand why I didn't want to let him go. He didn't understand why I was forcing him to stay at the club. Then other players kicked off that I wouldn't let him go. I was getting in the way of him following his dreams. So yeah, we sold him in the end. Just, it's another club in Norway. Maybe that player wouldn't have come to Norway at all if he hadn't come to me first. So I looked at it like that. Havad Mum, who we had just picked up, send him out on loan now to Arendal. Just see if he develops. I was never sure if he would make it into a first team player. In fact, this one's sad. Because let me tell you, I have struggled to find a new backup keeper. Sander Lunnin, I made an agreement with him that if anybody ever bid 27.5k, I would sell him. And Minnesota came in and did it. So unfortunately, our backup keeper in Sander Lunnin has left the club. Now looking at the ins, so we've spent big. Couple of big signings. First one, Simen Hegseth. Norwegian defensive midfielder. I'm retraining him as defensive mid as well, so I think that's his best position. With his dribbling, etc., I don't see him as an offensive player. Really good talent, only 18 years old. 2.5 million, well, 2.8 million from Valerenga. It's at the high end of what I would spend, but being only 18, I think he's a very good player and has a lot of potential. The next one is Urian Olsen. Again, only 18 years old. Picked up for 2.5 million from from Rosenborg. Don't know, I literally looked at the name and then said a totally different name. Again, I think he's a good player. Again, it's on the high end of what I would have paid for him, but I wanted to bring in them young players, and he looks decent, and we had sold Holton at that point, so I knew we needed to bring in a new defender. I then got excited on some players I got suggested, so bear with me on these. So the next one is Eero Niemann. He is a 16-year-old Finnish central mid. He doesn't look amazing, but there's something there. And for 325k, he's worth a punt, because in 3 years he's going to be classed as a homegrown in our squad registration. So I think he's worth a punt. And by the time he's 21, 22, he should have Norwegian citizenship, I think. The next one is Tom Lalho. He is also 16, central defender, 6'6". And again, same reason, I think there's something there long term. Let me know what you think about him. The next one from HJK is a 17-year-old central defender. He's only 6 foot, but more all-round. And again, a player who I do think has a lot of potential. 500,000, I think, was money well spent. And then the next two, I'm fairly pleased with this guy, Leonardo Gonzalez, a Colombian, recommended by my scout. I'm training him to be a left back because he can play with his left foot. He's decent. See how he develops. 850k, I think, is money well spent on him. And finally, I've been trying to get this guy since he was 16 years old. We've secured him for 3 million. It's a lot of money, but I think he's good enough to play. Is Andrew Snowden, and he looks good. Can play all the way along the attacking midfield line, row. I think he's a good player. I do think he's a good player. Let me know below what you guys think. I'm impressed by him, I really am. We've spent big. Financially now, we only have 4 million in the bank. We are just under 10 million in the red this season. But going in and going through the season, we've got European qualification coming up midway through. Hopefully the money comes back in. I'm positive we can be in the black by the end of the season. Hopefully. That's my hope anyway. I just hope we can be. I don't like losing money. But our squad is strong. Our squad is deep, and our squad has potential. When you looked at our starting lineup for today, I'm pleased with it. Hansen in goal. We got Bastions is starting as our first choice left back this season. I think he has potential. I do think he could start being a good left back. We've played him all over the pitch over the few seasons he's been here. 22 years old now. We picked him up in 2028. He's never been a first team regular. But you can see here, last year he played 28 games. So he plays a lot of games for us. Lasko, I think this season will be a first choice central defender. He's only 19 now, Hungarian. Just what a player this kid is. 250k picked him up for. I just see so much potential in him. Olsen starting today, and then Basic, who came to us last year. Again, I just see a lot of potential with him. Only 19 years old. He is classed as Norwegian as well. Vedvik, who we picked up last year in defensive mid this season, I think is only going to get better. Again, only 19. Hegseth starting alongside Sorter today. Sorter is now only 23, by the way. Picked up on a free transfer in 2027. He's just good. He's just a good player. Really like him. Pinker on the right. Apaya on the left, who is still developing really well. You will see he is transfer listed. Well, he's not transfer listed, but he is a value of 6 million. There's a lot of clubs sniffing around, and he has said he wants to go. I hope we can hold on to him, but just remember, we got him for nothing, and his contract runs out next year, so we might have to cash in on a Paya just so we don't lose him on a free, because for me, that's sacrilege if we let him go on a free. Up top, I mean, Samare, I just think this season he could really push on. I'm interested to see how he's going to do. I'm interested to see if he does push on how I think he could. He's 19. Our squad is so young. If I go on age-wise, flick this way. Larsson's our oldest player at 29, then Skallen 27, Fanny at 26, Jurgensen 25, Hansen at 25, Knapsku 25, and Allegred at 25. Then 23s. We've got a young squad. We've got a young squad. Our B team still isn't in the playbook game as well, by the way, which is very annoying. Let me know how you think we're going to do. Let me know what you think of my signings. Let me know about everything. I've been Paul, Osno's and Northman. Season 32, 2032, season 10, 9, 11, 10 is underway. I've been Paul, Osno's and Northman. Thanks for watching.